right now. I have to tell that story. Yes. Oh, great. Is this like a gag gift? Like, is a fake snake gonna pop out and bite me or something? You guys are scaring me here. Can I just opt to like take the safe route over here? Oh my goodness, dude, you guys are awesome. How'd you guys know I was a Lakers fan? Are you serious? Oh my goodness. I know, it's all over your life, Lance. Oh man, thank you guys so much. My favorite player. This is like blasphemy up here, man. Can I wear this? Can I just go change real quick? No, I'm just kidding. Man, thank you guys. Yeah, I was gonna say this is this is my all-time favorite player, and I do not have a black jersey of his. So this is nice. Wow. I don't know what to say. I'm like the most awkward gift receiver, but thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Man, that's so kind of you guys. That means a lot. Yes. Okay.
God, I thank you for today. Lance coming over, Lord, open our hearts to what he has to say. Lord, as we're looking at a lot of practical things, God, I know Lance will speak to just the spiritual matter of it as well, of how our hearts are in tune to yours and how we are worshiping you. God, I pray that each time any of us step on that platform to be representatives of Christ, that we are doing it as a matter of worship to you and you alone, and we are seeking to bring others along with us on that journey. God bless Lance today as he speaks. Allow him to use words that would be impactful to our hearts. Allow the musicians and the tech team and everyone to grow in the talents and abilities you've given them. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I'll leave it to
Amen. All right, man. Well, thank you guys. This was unexpected, and like I said, I'm not very. I love giving gifts and giving surprises. My wife's birthday was last week, and so I surprised her. And Thursday we left for Boston, and we spent a day there. And then we came back, and the second surprise was that her dad was in town from Missouri. And then I had another little surprise for her. We got her like an automatic start for her car, for her Kia Sorento. So it's just like a day of surprises. And then when it happens to me, I'm like, thank you so much. What do I do right now? So I appreciate it. How's everybody doing this morning? You guys doing okay? Good. I'm gonna ask maybe Jacob if you want to help pass these out. This would be awesome. This is for our first session. I'm kind of splitting it in half, and so hopefully this will give you guys something to kind of take notes on. Do we have any pens, or do you guys need any pens? Okay, cool. You guys got what you need then. It looks like. But man, I just want to say as he's passing those out, thank you guys so much for allowing me to be here. How many of you were at our church was it this past Sunday night? Yeah, this past Sunday night. Okay, cool. So I guess most of you, man, that was as close to normal as it has felt in the entire last year. And I just want to say thank you guys for coming and being a part of it. It's been, I don't know about you guys, but it's been weird singing and playing to a room that feels like, a third full or half full. And at times I've had to check my own attitude and, my own spirit and, my own motives as far as why we're doing this, right? But it was so cool Sunday night just to have you guys there and to be a part of that. So thanks for coming out. I just want to say one thing. I don't know much about your team, but what I do know from what I've heard from Ms. Carmi a little bit, and then what I've heard from Pastor Dustin is that you guys are just crushing it. You guys are doing a great job, and all I want to do, very simply, just so everyone understands this and so we're on the same page, is I just want to come in and be a help and encouragement to you, and in some ways say, hey, keep doing what you're doing, and then in some ways say, hey, this is kind of what we've done at Emmanuel. This is how we've grown. This is how we've worked through some issues that we've had. And again, I hope that'll just be a help and encouragement. By no means is this like, hey, we have it all together. This is how we do things. I hope you guys can take some of these principles and practical things we're going to give and then just apply them to your own context. Because truth be told, we're ministering in similar areas, but we're different churches, right? And to some degree, we do have a little bit different contexts. And so I think it's great to teach the principles that we're learning, and then you guys apply that to your church, right? And Ms. Carmi and Pastor Dustin are going to do a great job of just continuing to lead you guys forward in the way that they see fit. So you'll see at the top of your page, you have the principles for a next level team. Man, I'm so excited about this. And the subtitle, if you want to look at that, I don't even have it in my notes here, but I think I have it for you guys. It should be 5 Hebrew words that should change the way we worship, right? Something like that, okay? From what I understand, you guys started to kind of study some of these maybe some time ago. Okay, a couple years ago. Some of you, this might be somewhat familiar. Some of you, it might not. But I hope that this will really help kind of change the way that that we see things. So from the beginning, okay, just so we're all on the same page, we're going to talk a little bit philosophically, music ministry, as well as biblically. And the second session, we're going to get real practical, okay? So here we go. The principles for a next level team. First thing I want to say right off the bat, how many of you at this point in your life or at some point in your life have ever played video games? Raise your hand if that's ever you, okay? All right. How many of you say, Pastor Lance, I play an Xbox? Xbox, where are all the Xbox players? PlayStation, okay. All right, we're going to go back a generation here, okay? You guys ready for this? The Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64, okay. There we go. GameCube, maybe? Okay, man, wow, that just came back to me. Good night. Okay, how about this? We're going to go back another generation here. How about the original Nintendo or the Super Nintendo? Come on now. Whew. That's great. Okay, how about this one? Now, wait, hang on. Let me, before I mention this next one, I do want to say, when I want to say about 3-4 years old, we had a Super Nintendo, and I think my parents still have it in their basement, and we had the duck hunting games. You guys ever have that? Oh, man, there's still nothing today that rivals that, in my opinion. Okay. Back one more generation here. How many of you had the Atari when it came out? Come on now. Man, you're really dating yourselves here. Come on now, Rick. Come on now, brother. All right, Tony. That's awesome. Man, oh, my mom, and I tease her about this today because my mom is 51 years old now. She still looks so young. Yeah. I'm sorry to insult some of you. No, I'm just kidding. But when I was actually ring shopping, right before I got engaged, I would go into stores, and I'd have my mom, help me kind of, scope out the place. And every time I'd walk in, they'd say, they'd kind of ask for my mom's ring size because they thought that she was my fiance. Like she just looks so young, but I still like to tease her. I'm like, Mom, you're an old geezer, and I just kind of tease her and stuff because her first love is the Atari. Okay, like how many of you, like above all game systems, you're like, yes, the Atari. Okay, we got Rick back here. Some of you. Well, listen, there's something about, no matter what generation you're from, there's something about this idea of leveling up, okay? So we look at this, the principles for a next level team. I always love, whether it was Xbox or the Super Nintendo, that moment where you'd get to the next level, right? And the next level in the video game world implied that it was going to be harder, right? Maybe that the level was going to be longer. Next level in church world is very simple, just so we're all on the same page, because that's kind of the theme today. Next level in the church world is this, and if you want to write this down, that's great. But it's sowing the right seeds. It's sowing the right seeds so that we reap a harvest. Sowing the right seeds so that we reap a harvest. So what next level isn't in church world, it's not like, okay, we're doing X amount of work, and we've got to really crank it up to, Z amount of work, okay? Does that make sense? It's not, hey, we're here, and now we just got to really try harder. Or it's not burnout culture, right? It's not, man, well, we're practicing once a week, and man, we really got to crank it up and go to twice a week. No, that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a next level team. I'm talking about sowing the right seeds so that we reap a harvest. So here's what I mean practically. A next level team is a church of 50 sowing the seeds and being ready if God wants to take them to a church of 100. Okay, are we together with that? A next level team is a church of 300 sowing the seeds so that if God wants to take them to 400 or 450 or whatever, that they're ready for that. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about today. What are those principles that, man, as you guys move forward, that we can really come together as a team and kind of go, okay, this is the path God has for us. Let's sow those right seeds right now so that we're ready when God does decide to grow our church, okay? So we're going to look at these 5 Hebrew words for praise and worship and just talk about how they should influence our thinking. Okay, here's the first one, okay, and I want you guys to say this with me. The first word is halal. Can you say that with me? Ready, go. Halal. So it's H-A-L-A-L. You guys can write that down since you have that in your notes. Halal. And what this first one means is this: to boast, to rave, to be clamorously foolish. I love that last one. I'm saying them again here. To boast, to rave, or to be clamorously foolish. Okay? So, man, right away, I love this word because it has the idea of us raving about what God is doing on our worship team, what God is doing in our church. Halal is actually the base word, I guess is what you'd call it, that we get our word that we use in the English language for hallelujah, okay? That's actually the base word for this. We find this in Psalms 150 and verse 6. Do you guys have those scriptures there? Okay, some of these we're going to read together. This one I'll just read here, but look along with me. Psalm 150 and verse 6 says, "Let everything that hath breath praise," or halal, the Lord. Okay, so this is cool, guys. Like, to me, when I learn Hebrew words like this, it really gives kind of a deeper meaning to what they're trying to say in this verse here. So look back at the verse. Let everything that has breath rave about the Lord. Let him boast about the Lord. Be clamorously foolish about the Lord. And then it says, praise ye the Lord. I love that. Look at Psalms 22 in verse 22. It says, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation, I will halal thee, or I will praise thee. Or in other words, again, I will boast. I will rave about you, Lord. Okay? When I think of the word halal, and you guys can look up here for a second, I think of this idea of somebody pulling others into their party, okay? You guys all know that person maybe in your family or in your friend circle that, man, the moment you get around them, it's just like, man, they're so encouraging, right? They're so joyful. There's something about that person that they're just kind of pulling others into the party. Just a few years ago, I did my first wedding, and it was for my brother-in-law, Curtis, and his wife, Rania. She's from Germany. And at the wedding reception, they had dancing, and you know, it was all fun and you know, I guess appropriate. It was just a blast. And they did this thing, and I don't really necessarily know what it's called, but it came across to me like some type of like polka. Okay, like it was it felt very like Polish in its theme and stuff. But anyway, we're out there doing this as a group, and it's kind of one of those group dances and stuff. And I remember my mother-in-law. She's the sweetest person, but she's never danced in her life, and so she's standing there on the outside of what's going on. And I remember running over to her, and acting like I was going to talk to her, and I grabbed her hands and I pulled her out onto the dance floor, and she just she just lost it. Like her face turned red, and she quickly ran off the floor. When I think of the word halal, that's what I think of. Okay, I think of us pulling people into the party, so to speak. I think of us raving, boasting, being clamorously foolish, so that everyone around us can tell and can see, man, we're excited about something. Okay. And here's the question that I want to ask you. When it comes to your team or your church, are we halaling? Okay, are we raving? Are we being clamorously foolish? Are we boasting? Check this out, okay? I want everyone to catch this. Not just about our God. That's a great application. But are we raving and boasting even about Liberty Baptist Church? And to an even deeper level, are we raving and boasting even about, man, I get to be on the worship team? Like, this is a privilege. Here's the team takeaway, okay? And I think you guys have these for each of these. The team takeaway here for this word is, man, catch and spread the vision. Catch and spread the vision. This is really important because this word, and I want everyone to catch this, is all about your energy and your attitude on the team. It's all about your energy and your attitude on the team. Now, I know it's really bold of me in the midst of on the tail end of a pandemic to talk about catching and spreading anything right now, okay? But if there's anything that you need to catch and spread right now, it's your positive attitude. It's your energy to the team. Guys, I've been on worship teams. I've been on ministry teams that you come to the team. And I want everyone to catch this. Is all about your energy and is it me? Attitude. Oh, we're playing back my recording. This is awesome. We're just going to get a double dose, right? Okay. I have been on teams, guys. I've been on worship teams, ministry teams that, man, the moment you get there, it's a little bit of a drag to be on. Or I found myself at times, not on our current worship team, but in the past, man, at times like, man, yeah, I've got to go do X, Y, and Z. Well, why? Well, typically it was because there was it was either the leader or there was someone on the team that just had a negative attitude and would always bring down not just the energy, okay, or like the vibes, as this younger generation likes to say, but just the spirit of the team. And there's something about catching and spreading the vision. Psalms 29:18 says this: "Where there is no vision, the people perish." My old pastor used to say, "Hey, he who aims at nothing hits it every time," right? So we have a vision for our team. You have a vision for your team. Miss Carmi has conveyed that to me. Pastor Dustin has conveyed that to me. And it is your job as a team member to go, now, there's a fine line between, this was a couple years ago, I think, that a news reporter said this to an athlete. It was like, just shut up and dribble. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember that being all over the news. In other words, it was like, hey, just do your job, okay? And there's a fine line between that and what I'm saying. I'm not saying just shut up and come do your job and follow the leader. What I am saying is that the leader and the lead of this organization, this church, needs your spirit, right? They need your best. And your church can really sense, in my opinion, whether or not you're all in on that. So, what are we halaling about? We're halaling about our God, okay? We're raving about him, but we're also halaling or raving about Liberty's future, okay? As a worship team, as a church. That's really important. Number 2, let's look at yada. Let's look at the second word here. Yada, which is, this is one of my favorites, to worship with extended hands. To worship with extended hands. I'm going to give you the second part of this. To throw arms upward in praise or surrender. To throw arms upward in praise or surrender. Okay. Just so you guys know, if you want to write this down, this is found over 111 times in Scripture. This word yada. If you think about it, this is like coded in our DNA, right? To yada. Unless you grew up in an environment like I did, then it's coded out of your DNA, right? Or it's coded in your DNA, then it's sucked out of your DNA, right? No expression during worship. Okay, thankfully, I'm kind of coming out of that and understanding. Man, when I watch a sports game, there's something that is just like compelling, right? When my team scores or when they win the championship, to just be like, yes, you know. I remember the time and the place. I remember exactly where I was when my Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, you guys know I'm a huge fan now. I'm sorry, but when I found out that they signed their second best player right now, Anthony Davis. I was actually on vacation. This was, I guess, 2 summers ago now, and we were down in Orlando, and I remember the restaurant we were at. I remember what I was eating. I remember who I was with when I found out, and I about like threw the table over. You know, I mean, everyone around me in that restaurant knew, like, oh my goodness, something's going on, right? Yada is coded in our DNA. How many of you are Boston Celtics fans? Okay, so you've had nothing to Yada about for a long time. I'm really sorry. Just teasing. I'm just teasing, Ted. No. How many of you are New England Patriots fans? Right? Okay. All right. Plenty of you in here. Man, this past Super Bowl where Tom Brady, and I know there's kind of mixed feelings there, but man, where he won a Super Bowl, man, I was just excited for him. Right? This is coded in our DNA. Sometimes when it comes to the church world, I think we like to kind of pull it out for whatever reason. Okay. But look at these scriptures here where it says Yada. Look at Psalm 67 and verse 3. Let the people praise thee, or yada thee, O God. Let all the people yada thee. Okay, this is really cool. Look at Psalm 44 and verse 8. Let's read this one together. Psalm 44 and verse 8. Ready, begin. In God we boast all the day long and praise, or yada, thy name forever. Man, I love that. Look at Psalm 134 and verse 2. Lift up your hands in the sanctuary and bless the Lord. Psalm 141 and verse 2. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. So here's the challenge here, guys. May we express our energy, our passion for heavenly things more than we do our earthly things, okay? And I think that's something that, man, growing up, I never really understood or even, brought those two things together. But sometimes I get more excited. I think now I'm better at it, but I think before I'd get more excited about things outside of church than I would inside the church, right? And man, this is something that should be natural with us. Singing encourages physical expressiveness, and this is going to look different for everybody. So it's important for the people that don't lift their hands as much not to look at the people that lift their hands and judge them, right? And it's important for the people that lift their hands maybe more than others or, are physically expressive, not to look at those that don't and be judgy, okay? It's very important. It's a biblical thing, but it's going to look different for everybody. John Stott said this. He said, there is a place in public worship both for shouting aloud because he is the great God and for bowing down before him because he is our God. I mean, you guys know this. All throughout the Psalms, we're invited to kneel, to clap, right, to dance before the Lord. We're invited to lift our hands. In Psalm 108, I think you guys have this one. It says, "O God, my heart is fixed. I will sing and give praise, even with my glory." Or, in other words, my whole being is what he's saying there. So the practical takeaway for this is this. Here's the team takeaway you guys can write down. Lead liberty passionately. Lead liberty passionately. So we talked about first, catch and spread the vision. And then the next is, man, don't be afraid to show that to your team. Don't be afraid to show that to your church family, because guess what? They're watching you and they're cueing off of you. I've talked to my team a lot about this, but sometimes we come into our 9 o'clock service and everyone's really dead out here. Does that happen to you guys at all? Oh, man. And then as a team, your spirit is just brought down. It's like, oh, man, like nobody's enjoying this, or like they're not feeling the preparation that we put into this, or like they're not feeling the energy. And then you get discouraged as a team. And guys, what I've told my team is, guys, we don't cue off of the congregation. The congregation cues off of us, right? It's kind of it's a little bit in a like a twisted way, like a parent-child relationship. Okay, the parents shouldn't cue off of the children, right? The parents should cue off of the parents, right? They should parent their children. They should lead them. They should show them how they are to act and to behave. And in a way, guys, the congregation is cueing off of your energy. They're cueing off of who you are as a team. And I think the more you can get into that worship and just be in the moment and be thinking about the lyrics you're singing and show that passionately, the more they're going to cue off of you. And then there's kind of this energy that goes back and forth between you that's very healthy. What we want to avoid, and I guess you guys could write this down as well, but we want to avoid emotionalism. We want to avoid emotionalism. And what that is emotionalism pursues feelings as an end in themselves, okay? So there is an unhealthy aspect to worship where, man, all we're doing is chasing after the feeling that we get when we worship. And that is a very unhealthy place to be, because no longer are we worshiping our God and expressing that. No longer are we just leading our church family in that. Now we're chasing a feeling so that we can feel better about ourselves, okay? Man, if I could just, jump around during worship. Man, if I could just lift my hands. Man, if I could just, feel that way while I worship. Guys, that's not what it's about. And there are plenty of Sundays where I come in and I've had a long week, and let me tell you something. The moment that I get in, I am more, as I'm singing, I'm more preaching to myself than I am anything, okay? And sometimes that has to happen in our worship. Sometimes it's not going to feel all, you're not going to feel all of the emotions, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And you've got to kind of press through that and just allow the Lord to teach you through that music and to preach to yourself during that. But we've got to avoid emotionalism. That's wanting to feel something with no regard for how that feeling is being produced or its ultimate purpose, okay? Number 3, we're going to move on to number 3 here. This is the word shabach. Can you say that with me? Ready, go. Shabach. That's S-H-A-B-A-C-H. Shabach. And this is to address in a loud tone or to shout. To address in a loud tone or to shout. This is used here. I just put one verse here because I really wanted to focus on this verse. Look at Psalm 145 and verse 4. It says, one generation shall praise or shabach thy works to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts. This is really cool. I love the meaning of this verse, because it's not just saying one generation shall praise thy works to another, it's shall shout them to one another, okay? The first application here is, man, is your faith being passed on to the next generation? Are we communicating that in our worship? Because I think we should. I think there's an important application there. But the idea here is this: worship communicates. Okay, and here's the team takeaway. You might think I'm twisting this one, but this is my team takeaway, my practical takeaway from Shabach, or the communication of worship. Here it is. Next level worship teams are expert communicators. Next level worship teams are expert communicators. Now, here's what I mean by that. Of course, we're going to talk about the communication from the stage to the congregation, right? Of course, there's that application, okay? Man, if you're not communicating while you're singing up here, if you're not communicating while you're worshiping up here, there's something wrong with what you're doing. If we're standing up here with a microphone going, bless the Lord, oh my soul, okay, you're not communicating, okay? We need to learn to allow those lyrics to speak to us so deeply that it's not fake when we smile to the congregation and when we're communicating that to the congregation. We need to know these songs so well and so deeply to the point that when you're playing your drum set or, your electric guitar or the piano or whatever, man, you are communicating with that instrument, right? And with the energy with which you are worshiping. So we're going to table that for right now because we're going to talk about that later. But there's a behind-the-scenes communication that needs to happen that so often in worship teams is really hard. And that's the communication from the leader to the team, and then from the team back to the leader. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about? You guys use right now, not Planning Center, but what do you guys use right now? It's called Simple Church. I got you. Okay. So I don't know how you guys do scheduling right now, obviously, okay, by me asking that question. But here's what I'll tell you. Early on, guys, I would schedule people on my team and communicate. And, man, I'd spend all this time preparing as a worship leader, planning the services, attaching files to the email to send out to the team, making sure that it's the right Sunday for so-and-so and so-and-so because they can't be on the next Sunday, so they got to be on for that Sunday. And I'd send out the email, and then I'd hear nothing back. Crickets, right? There was this communication that needed to happen from the leader to the team, but also from the team back to the leader. And what's funny about this is communication is easy, right? In person. It's very easy. Like if I want to ask Tony a question, like who the best team in the NBA is right now. I'm just kidding. I'm giving him a hard time today. If I wanted to ask him a question, right, we can have a conversation right here. But where it gets muddied is in the digital world, okay? So you get scheduled for something, you get sent to text or through Planning Center or, Simple Worship or whatever, and then all of a sudden, If I'm the leader, oftentimes I don't know, did that person receive that? Are they good? Okay. So the way that I like to kind of, I guess, depict this, and maybe you guys don't struggle with this, but a lot of teams do, is the leader does all this time in planning, and we're just going to, I guess, act this out right now. Let's see if there's something that we can toss around here for a second. Okay, I'm going to use this little draft. Hopefully we don't mess it up here. I'm going to toss this to Jacob, okay? So the leader takes what needs to be communicated and communicates, okay? Now, I can see very clearly right now that Jacob caught that, right? And I'm like, okay, good. And if Jacob wants to toss it back, go ahead and toss it back. I can see that, and I can catch, what is this, a draft? Yeah, I can catch the draft, okay? But what happens in digital communication is there's a fence now between me and Jacob. So I have no clue whether or not he's catching what I'm sending. Okay, are you guys feeling what I'm putting down? Okay. So I throw it over the fence, and I have no clue at this point. You can catch it, Jacob. Come on, man. Let's try it again here. Here we go. All right, here we go. But I'm going to throw it over the fence, and I have no clue really at this point, right, if there's a fence between us. If Jacob caught it, okay, if it fits his schedule, I have no clue until all of a sudden I hear back from him, right? All of a sudden it comes over the fence. Oh, okay, I got that, okay? And I think this is really important to understand because not a lot of worship teams understand the leader needs to hear from me, okay? They need to hear whether or not I'm good to go for this Sunday. They need to hear whether or not this schedule is okay for me. And I think it's really important to have that line of communication and to, when she sends you something, to go, okay, I've got to respond because she's planning this. She put a lot of time into this, so I'm going to do the very least by just going, hey, there you go, yes, I'm good for that. Or, hey, no, I can't, or whatever it is. And hopefully Jacob won't drop it next time, okay? All right, so that's really important here. And when I think of the word Shabbat, and again, maybe your team doesn't struggle with this, and if so, congratulations to you guys. You guys are awesome, okay? But I think this is a really big part to being a healthy team, is learning how to communicate. It's just like any relationship, right? In marriage, like 90% of marriage problems, I'd say, at least in our marriage sometimes, are just communication problems, right? Oh, you didn't tell me that you scheduled that, or, that you invited that family over tomorrow. Thanks for letting me know now, Or, the doorbell rings. Oh, hey, babe, by the way, we're having the Alleys over tonight, Thanks, I'll throw something in the crock pot, the crock pot lands. And I think there's something there to that communication that is just, it's so key to your team. Look at number 4 here. Okay, we're going to move forward here. Number 4 is Barak. You want to say that with me? Ready, go. Barak. This one is to kneel, to humble oneself, or to salute. To kneel, to humble oneself, or to salute. So Barak is a word, a Hebrew word of humility. Okay, it is us recognizing our position in relation to God. Look at Psalm 100. I think you have it right there. In verse 4, it says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. That word praise right there is actually a different word than Barak. It's the word tehillah, which we won't cover today. And then it says, be thankful unto him and bless or Barak his name. Okay. The context of this word, okay, and I want everyone to look up here so you guys can catch this because there's kind of a picture here that I want to help us understand. The context of this word Barak, when it was used in the Old Testament, it was typically used in the context of someone coming before the king, okay? So picture that, okay? And anytime somebody entered into the king's courts, right, let's say it was, here's the doors and back where Rick is and, the sound booth, that's where the king was. Well, automatically they would kneel before the king, okay? It was an act of humility. It was an act of adoration to the king. But what's interesting about this, and Hebrew scholars believe that this doesn't just simply mean bending down. You guys got to catch this. It was more of the idea of bending low while keeping your eyes fixed on the king. So it wasn't just kneeling before the king. It was keeping your eyes fixed while you're kneeling or while you are humbling oneself. So this word gives new perspective to so many songs that we sing. You guys know the first song that comes to mind that we use this word on is actually the song 10,000 Reasons. How many of you guys know the song 10,000 Reasons? Okay. Became real popular in, I want to say, the early 2000s maybe, or between 2000 and 2010. Just a really good song, but it comes from Psalm 103. You guys have that scripture there? Psalm 103 in verse 1 says this, Barak the Lord, O my soul. This is so cool. So this gives a whole new meaning. And all that is within me, Barak his holy name. Barak the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all of his benefits. This is really cool, guys. So when we sing 10,000 Reasons, we're not just singing, bless the Lord, O my soul. We're singing, man, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. It's not just an act of, fun praise, right, or, expressiveness. It's an act of adoration, kneeling before the King. And I think this is really cool. So here's the team takeaway for this. And again, I'm not trying to twist these. I'm just trying to think, man, what do we take away from that? Here is this: follow in humility and always seek feedback. Follow in humility and always seek feedback. Guys, there's something about a team member, and I'm not talking about a yes man, okay, or a yes woman, okay, someone who just comes in and is like, yes, Pastor Lance, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. No, there's something about a team member that brings their best to the table creatively, that brings their sharpest mind and their best attitude to the table, but there's something about that combination with humility that is just, man, the best combination. I have someone on our team right now, and I have quite a few people that I could say this about, but there's one girl on our team that, man, every time she's scheduled, I realized last month I scheduled her about 3 Sundays in a row, and normally with her I try to do about once a month or twice a month. And I scheduled her 3 Sundays in a row, and then I scheduled her, I think, the one after. So I think it was a total of 4, and I didn't realize it. And she came every week, was faithful. She's never given me a hard time. She always tries to be as flexible as possible. And I told her, I said, Ashley, I didn't realize that I scheduled you that much. I'm so sorry. And she's like, it's fine. She's like, I love serving. She is a member of our team that, to be honest with you, just has the most humble attitude. Always following in humility and always seeking feedback. Hey, did I hold the mic right on that? Like, did I play the right chord there? Hey, was that the right tempo? It's really important as a team that we're seeking feedback. I want everyone to understand this, especially if you're a band member. If someone can't speak into your area and go, hey, that tempo was a little off, or hey, let's kind of come together as a team and address that. Man, if that can't be addressed, there's something wrong in your spirit, okay? And I understand to some degree it's like, well, why would I let the electric guitarist speak into the drums? I'm not, I know you guys all play different stuff. And I get that, okay? But guys, we have a rule on our team. Hey, if you hear something, say something, right? The see something, say something, right? We have a rule on our team. Hey, if you hear something, say something. If there's a vocal part just way off, I tell our sound guy, hey, let us know, man, because you're out there and I'm up here during practice. You've got to let me know. Don't just go, yeah, all sounds good, Own your area. Like, as a sound guy, like that's your job, is to make sure, okay, hey, you know what? Something's sounding off here. I'm not trying to be over you guys. I'm not trying to overstep my bounds. I'm just going to humbly tell you something's a little off. We might want to work on that, okay? So as a band member, as a vocalist, man, we've got to follow in humility, always seek feedback. Underneath this, I want you guys to write this down, because I tell this to our team. We own the fails and we share the wins. We own the fails and we share the wins. Own the fails, share the wins. Anytime somebody says something to me kind about our team, and some of you said stuff to me about this past Sunday night, and I hope my response was right, which is, hey, thank you, praise the Lord. And then I always try to say, hey, we have a great team. They do a great job. They contributed a lot to that. Now, what you don't know is that, and this isn't to brag on myself, but that I put in a lot of work, probably more than any other team member, right? Like, did probably like 70% of, the work, like all the planning and, making sure the transitions are right and, all that stuff. But I don't care about and shouldn't care about the accolades. As the team, there's something that in humility we should just go, hey, you know what? Yeah, we got a great team. Whether you contributed to 10% of the success or 90% of the success, we should own the fails. Hey, that was my mistake, my bad. And the wins, those are team wins. Those aren't my wins, okay? Another thing underneath this, and you can write this down too, seek the feedback, deflect the praise. Seek the feedback, deflect the praise. And this is very similar, but anytime somebody praises our team, man, I like to try and deflect that. Hey, man, you guys put out a great album. Hey, yeah, we got a guy on our team, David, who does a great job at helping produce that, Yeah, man, we got a lot of people that just volunteered a lot of hours on their part to make that happen. Man, yeah, it was a great team effort. But when it comes to seeking the feedback, that's about me. And what's funny about this, I want you guys to catch this. A selfish or an immature person gets this backwards. They seek the praise and they deflect the feedback. Okay? And I think that's really important. Again, if you can't be talked to about your instrument or your tempo or your timing or whatever as a team player, the very definition of a team player, man, it might not be the right place for you, okay? Or it might not be the right time for you. You need to be willing to receive that feedback. Seek it, okay? Don't deflect it. And I think when you deflect it, it's more evident of something that's going on in your heart or your mind, okay? Now, here's the last thing I'll say underneath this, and go ahead and write this one down too. Bring all the creativity and then submit all the creativity. This is really good. Bring all the creativity to the table, but then submit all the creativity. This is really cool. If you guys look at our greatest example, which is Jesus, we look at Philippians chapter 2. There's this model, even with Jesus, guys, of bringing and then submitting. Bringing and then submitting. Bringing and then submitting. Look at what he says here in Philippians 2. Let this mind be in you, which was in Jesus, who basically was God. He thought it not robbery to be equal with God. Here it is, verse 7. But he made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant, was made in the likeness of man. Being found in fashion as a man, he, shout it out with me if you know this, humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. So check this out. Jesus brought to earth the most valuable thing that anyone could ever bring to earth, which was his godness, right? His godhood. He brought it to earth, and then he submitted that to his humanity and to the death of the cross, right? He died to pay for our sins. So if Jesus can do this, guys, we can do this. We should do this with our team. We should do this with our spouses. We should do this in all of our relationships. And I think it's really important to bring that creativity, but then to submit that creativity to the leader of the team. There comes certain points in our practices where I go, hey, guys, I didn't plan the ending of this. Like, I kind of know how, but I want your guys' thoughts. What's your thought? And sometimes our team just goes, just kind of waits there for about 5 seconds. And I'm like, okay, let's just do this way. But it's the best when they bring their creativity, and then I have the ability as the leader to go, you know what? No, let's not do that, okay? They're submitting their creativity, right? Or I have the ability as the leader to go, hey, that's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. Or I don't know if that'll work for tomorrow, but let's try that next time. We don't have enough time to do that right now, okay? So it's really important that you do that. And, of course, some good books for this, if you guys want to write this down. How to Lead When You're Not in Charge by Clay Scroggins. How to Lead When You're Not in Charge. One of the best books I've ever read is this next one, Thanks for the Feedback, by Stone and Heen. And that's definitely like a more secular book, and it might even have some language in it, so forgive me. But it's one of the best books I've read in the corporate world of understanding the type of feedback you should be looking for and how to respond to that. And I'll be honest with you, as a millennial or whatever, and I think this is human nature, but as a millennial, man, when it comes to the things that I want to create, whether it's music or a video or whatever, man, I don't want feedback. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but so oftentimes I hold very dearly what I've created or help do or whatever. And that book really helped me understand, man, I need to be seeking feedback in these areas and understanding what type of feedback. He talks about, hey, am I seeking praise in the feedback? Am I seeking like critical, like, hey, tear this apart? Am I seeking, like, there's like 3 or 4 different things I think will be a help to you guys. Number 5, I digress, sorry. Number 5 is the word zamar. Say that with me, ready, go. Zamar. This is a great one. To pluck the strings of an instrument to sing. To pluck the strings of an instrument to sing. So if we look at Psalm 144 and verse 9, it says this, I will sing a new song, O God, upon a psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings will I sing praises unto thee. That's where that verse is used right there, or that word, excuse me. I think this Hebrew word, okay, you say, Lance, you're really stretching it on this one. I'm just telling you what I feel like this Hebrew word insinuates, other than just, hey, pluck the instrument, sing. I think it points us to excellence and preparation. Okay, that's what I'm going to focus on here. And that's the team takeaway. Prepare in private, strive for excellence. Prepare in private, strive for excellence. When I think of Zamar, even with like David, okay, before he became king, man, he was excellent on the instruments that he played. So much that the king had him into his courts, right? I mean, so much that in order to just calm the king down after meetings or stress levels or whatever, it's like, hey, bring in so-and-so, man, because he's really good at that. Now, not all the time in my life, and I don't even think I'm necessarily there now, but not all the time in my life could I say, man, Lance played that excellently, okay? I want to keep striving for that. I want to prepare in private and strive for excellence. I tell our team this all the time. I say, guys, we sweat in preparation so we don't bleed in battle. We sweat in preparation so we don't bleed in battle, which is, man, when we get into church time, man, that's battle. So we've got to sweat in preparation, right? We've got to sweat out those details. We've got to be practicing at home so that when we get into our first battle, which is rehearsal, Saturday night, so we're not just clamoring for stuff. We have no clue what we're doing. We don't know what key the song is in. We don't know what lead line we're going to play. We don't know what the tempo is or any of that stuff. It's important that we prepare at home and strive for excellence so that when we get in those situations, the excellence just comes out, okay? A few things I want to say about this. Number one, never settle for let's just go with that, okay? Or I'll say it this way, rarely settle for let's just go with that. Because every now and then, for sake of time, you got to, right? It's like, okay, practice has been an hour and a half right now. Like, let's sing everything a cappella tomorrow if we can't get this right, So I would say rarely say, hey, let's just go with that. That sounds decent. Or, hey, sure, whatever, okay? And then the last thing I'll say about this is empower and train those who will eventually replace you. I think that has to do with excellence. Empower and train those that will eventually replace you. Guess what? You are a finite being, okay, in case you forgot that in, this past year. You are a finite being. You will not live forever. I will not live forever. And a big part of a next level team is going, you know what? I'm the, electric guitar player. I'm the pianist. I'm a lead vocalist. And I need to help, prepare the next generation to replace me. And I need to prepare them so well that actually I give them the tools to be better than me, right? We should never be stingy about, the place that we play on the team. Like, that's my spot, And I should, we should do it this way, and this is the way we've always done it. Next level teams aren't insecure about their place on the team or how others are gifted. They're not insecure about their place on the team or how others are gifted. We should always be empowering others. And this is the last thing I'll say about this. When I was growing up, I went to a church of 6,000 people, just a huge campus, 40 acres, very large ministry, obviously. And there was always one head janitor. His name was E.J. Johnson. And he had a ring. He had a key ring about yay size. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, I mean, you knew E.J. was coming, like, because you heard him a mile away. He had a key to every room on campus. And when I think of this, when I think of helping prepare the next generation, I think of this, okay? As leaders, as worship leaders, as vocalists, as instrumentalists, whatever role you play, if you're getting good at what you do, you have a large key ring right now, right? You have a large set of responsibilities, which is, man, I got to help with that transition. I got to be there at practice. I got to, do this for this person. I got to make sure the timing's right on this. I really got to set the example for this. And what our job is to do, as we're gaining excellence, we are collecting keys. Okay, you guys with me? This is the last thing, and then we'll take a break. But we're collecting keys, and our job isn't to hold on to those keys. Our job is to pass those on to people that are just as gifted, if not more gifted, than we are. Guys, there are people on my team that are much better at acoustic guitar than I am. I've played acoustic guitar since I was in 7th, 8th grade, just kind of for fun, and I've taken it up more in the last 4 or 5 years, and I've gotten better at it. There are still people that are better, which is why on Sunday night, you didn't see me with an acoustic guitar in my hand, right? Somebody else had it. Somebody else was setting the tempo. Somebody else was doing really what I could do, but better. And I think it's important that as a team member, you're always identifying, maybe even people in your church, that you go, hey, man, you play drums too, or you play electric guitar too, or, you play piano too, whatever. Man, why don't we get together sometime? Why don't we practice sometime? Hey, it would be great for you to join the team, and maybe, we get you in a rotation, where I'm 3 times a month and you're 1 time a month, and we try to help you grow in this. And guys, this is a huge part of a next level team. We're always looking to the next generation going, how can I pass off my excellence? Not hoard it. And that's really what an immature team does. And eventually, immature teams that hoard their gifts and their abilities, they die out, right? So I think that's huge. A good book to read for that is a book called Growing Young. Growing Young by Powell. Powell, Mulder, and Griffin. It was kind of a team book. But it's called Growing Young, and it talks about how do you help your church grow young. So guys, there are 7 Hebrew words. We didn't cover 2 of them today, just for the sake of time and for sake of team takeaways. But I hope that's the foundation we're going to build on in this next session, which is the practicals of a next level team. So we're going to get into some fun stuff this next round, but I hope I didn't bore you. I hope that really helped you get a foundation biblically for what we're doing, okay? Do you guys have, really quick before we take a 5-minute break or whatever, do you guys have any questions? We can take a couple minutes and address those about any of these words or about something that was mentioned. Tony? Mhm. Yes. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Of course, man. And there's certain times where that's worse than other seasons. There's times where I felt like, man, our team is going through a busy season. A large part of our team works at our Christian school. And, I mean, as you guys know, if you're close to any teachers or have any teachers in your family, right here? Okay. Teachers are busy, man. And, they get the summer off, when the rest of us don't. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, not all of them do, right? Yeah, not all of them do. But that's like, the misnomer is, oh, well, you guys only work, 9 months out of the year. No, not really, actually. Our teachers are very busy at the school, and I know that public school teachers, it's the same, if not even harder to some degree. And so, to answer your question, Tony, this happens a lot with our team where, man, they are tired. And then the one day that they have off, Saturday, is like, I'm asking them to come in for an hour or an hour and a half, Or if we have a night of worship like we did this past Sunday, it's like, you got to stay for like about 2 hours, So there's a few things that I will say to this, and that is, as a leader, I try to identify those times and just do small things to encourage them. The number one thing, and I know this is silly, but I try to make room in our budget to just during those seasons, man, give our team a gift card. Just a small Starbucks gift card or a Dunkin' gift card is like, dude, thank you so much. Like I've had teachers be like, you know what, like I was so, not ready to come into practice today, but I came in and you came in, with a smile and, with the right energy and you encouraged me and then you handed me the gift card. And that was just huge, and I just want to thank you. And I'm like, good, that's awesome. That was the goal. And I try to make room in our budget just a few times a year where it's just like, hey, let's give them gift cards. Let's show them some extra appreciation to help get them through their week. Number 2, I guess, would be I'm always trying to put before them the vision, the importance of what we're doing. Because I think the times that I feel that way, I get bogged down into this. I get bogged down into my schedule, and how, is this impacting anybody? Does, really what I'm doing right now even matter, have importance or meaning? Is it even affecting anybody? And the moment that I hear from somebody else, hey, this impacted me, this affected me, thank you so much for doing X, Y, and Z, that means a lot. So, guys, what I try to do is I try to bring that before the team, and I'll tell them stories. So, like, when I get emails or text messages, I'll bring that before the team, and I'll say, hey, guys, this is what so-and-so said about our night of worship last week. I just want you guys to know, I know you're tired, but it was worth it, and it encouraged a lot of people. And, hey, we got X amount of views on Facebook, when we streamed this last week. I just want you guys to know that's huge. You guys with me? So that, like, that stuff, keeping that in front is just like, man, it's like a breath of fresh air to hearts that are bogged down. And I'd say in those seasons, you got to do a little extra to remind yourself of, man, why am I doing this? You know, and then, you know, from the leadership side, I try to do a few things that kind of infuse life into that. But I don't know if that helps, but that, yeah. But good question. Yeah, right back here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. 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 Right. Right. Yeah. Right. It is, yeah. And I think that's a great question. Okay, I just want to say that right off the bat. And I hope everyone will kind of listen to the answer, which is I think we've experienced. And I'm not here to say like, hey, we have this perfectly right. So if you follow this formula, you know, you're gonna, drink the Kool-Aid, and you're gonna be okay. No, it's not like that. But from the very get-go, we did, to the best of our ability, Pastor and I did our best job to help train our congregation. Hey, music is not about our preferences. So we talked to the older generation, hey, we're going to sing some newer songs. And you might be sitting there going, this song isn't ministering to me. Okay, well, that's where you need to catch yourself, because it's not about you. It's about the whole. It's about worshiping our God, right, which all these songs do. So we're accomplishing that goal. But it is about blessing the whole, okay? So, and then we talked to the younger generation, okay? And we talked to them about, hey, that we're going to sing some hymns that, like, are going to feel like throwbacks to you, okay? And we're going to do our best to modernize them and to make them, energetic, or even do some, maybe in an older style, or even a cappella without any instruments, and that's going to bless some of the older generation, or, those in between. And you're going to be sitting there, as a young person, 20 to 35 or, 40, whatever, going, oh, man, I'm not really vibing with this one. Like, this doesn't have, the rhythm, that I would like, or, the words, or, it's not, melodically as easy to sing or whatever, okay? And we talked about that's when you've got to catch yourself as a young person. This isn't about you. You're a part of a body. Guess what, guys? Anytime you're a part of a body, anytime you're in a relationship, there's going to be things that other people don't like, right? It's just like in marriage. It's just like in anything else. There's going to be things in that relationship that so-and-so likes, but so-and-so doesn't like. Well, what allows that to keep going forward? Deference and humility, right? So we tried our best to train our congregation about that and just say, hey, when we're singing a song that doesn't, bless you in the way that you think, well, guess what? The next one probably will. So just hang tight, okay? And guess what? The moment that I actually lay down my will in humility to some of these older songs, they actually start to bless me. And vice versa. We actually have a guy in our congregation. His name is Dave Hunt. And when we first came, I mean, he was just like probably wouldn't ever lift his hands in worship or, be expressive. He was at the time in his mid-50s. So I wouldn't say he's an old person by any means, but he did grow up in kind of that generation of hymns only. Okay, you guys with me? So I think he kind of had that mentality. And guys, I'm telling you, 8 years ago, or 8 years now, 8 years later, like on the dot, he just said to us the other day, he's like, he is one of our biggest fans. And he said today, he's like, Lance, he's like, I love some of the new worship music that we do. And he's like, sometimes now I'm catching myself like, when we do hymns, he's like, I'm enjoying them, but now I'm kind of wanting, a lot of those newer songs because they're speaking to me in a way that I never would have thought that I could be spoken to, Yeah. So that's something that pastor would say from the pulpit. He'd say, hey, listen, we're about to sing some songs, and he'd say it a lot more in the early days when we're trying to develop that culture. He doesn't say it as much now because it's more assumed, and I think we're together now. But before, man, it took years, guys, for the entire congregation to kind of get that, right? And we'd have newer songs that, some of the quote unquote, older people are standing there with their arms folded, like, not mad, but just like, I don't know the melody to this song, that type of thing. And then we had, on the flip side, some of the younger people, as we'd sing hymns, being like, I don't really like singing this song anymore. It reminds me of my old time, my old life or whatever. I don't know. But I think it was talked about from the pulpit, and it was continually rehearsed. There was a study that just came out that said people in your organization, they will not get what you're saying until you say it about 6 or 7 times, and finally it clicks with them. Oh, it's important to you, So you can't just think as a worship team or as a leader of this church even, hey, I'm going to get up and I'm going to say this once and we're all going to be on the same page, No, it's something you have to rehearse to your church and help them understand. You have to help the older generation understand, hey, guys, if this just becomes about us, our church dies. And the older people the younger people, quote unquote, have to understand, if this just becomes about us, our church dies. And you guys know why, right? Because many givers in churches all across America are in their 40s and above. Younger people are learning how to give. They're just baby givers, all right? So guess what? If it's all about them and, we just swing the pendulum, sorry, Jacob, I know you're like, the youngest in the room. This probably isn't you. But if we just swing the pendulum, guess what? The church dies too because there's nobody helping sustain and give towards a cause. So it's a coming together, the older generation and the younger generation going, hey, we're going to humble ourselves, right? Just like Jesus did. We're going to humble ourselves and sing collectively songs that they're not always going to be our favorite, but we're going to come together on this. And that our church now, we sing a great mix of hymns and new songs, and that's kind of our style now. And even when we sing hymns, we try to do them in a new way, Even when we get new songs, we don't just do them just like the artist, right? We do them our way. And so I think there's kind of this happy middle, if that kind of helps answer your question. But I know there's a tension there for sure. So, right there. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Not much right now. Yeah. Especially the 9 o'clock service, like I said, because, man, they're just dead. Like, yeah. 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 Okay. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Yep. It's so true. Yeah. Yep. It is. It's tough, but that's why I'm trying to train our team. Guys, we can't cue off of the crowd's energy, I'll tell you guys, like, man, the energy at our night of worship, and, some of you guys were there, but, man, we had people in the crowd just into the singing. I mean, people, you're dying, right? like we just talked about. I mean, there's a heavy response of, wow, we're in this together, and I love that feeling when we get that feeling. But, again, I can't chase that feeling, I've got to sing truth and know that I'm singing truth, right? And regardless of what they're thinking of me, if they're thinking, oh, they're just trying to put on a show, or if they're thinking, oh, I don't know this song, or oh, well, this is really good, but I'm not showing it. There's a million things going through their heads, and I can't cue off of that. If that's kind of what you're going for, I've got to know that it is blessing somebody, and many times, you're part of that, huh? Yeah, I got you. Okay, well, that's great, and that's so key to just don't cue off of what's happening in the room. Know that it's blessing somebody. Many times, it is blessing the people in the room. They just don't know how to show it. I've been in churches where I come in and I'm standing there while I sing, and it's blessing me, but I'm not physically showing it, and they could think the same thing about me. Okay, you guys with me? Like that. I mean, I think that's human nature sometimes, is to assume, just by visuals, that they're thinking one thing or the other, and I can't it's just a mind game. I can't let my head go there. I've got to know I'm singing and preaching truth, and it is reaching the people that God wants to reach. Oh, it's a whole lot easier. Yeah, and it helps your energy. Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. 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 That's awesome. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, not knowing it much. Yep. Mhm. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Mhm. 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 Yeah. It's so true. Tomorrow we're about to introduce a song. It's by We the Kingdom. I think it's the first one that we're doing congregation by them. Have you guys heard of them at all? Okay. So we're doing one. It's called God So Loved the World That He Gave Us. Have you guys heard that one? Oh, it's such a good one. Well, like tomorrow, I just know in the 9 o'clock, I'm going to be fighting it in my head because we're introducing it. So they're going to be like, on top of low energy, they're going to be like, we don't know this. We're singing John 3:16. Okay, I know the words, I don't know the melody. And I've just got to get past that. But you're right. We stick with the new song for a good 3-4 weeks, and people start to sing it. They start to get it, and that's a big part of it. But yeah, I'll be feeling that tomorrow. Pray for me. Right. Yeah. Mm. Yes, I love that one. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. No. Even today, you're right. And hey, I just want to say something. When you agreed to be on this team, like whether or not you realized it, you're a leader. Like you're a leader in this church. It's not just pastor, a leader. You're leading, and when you lead, you carry a weight of responsibility that you don't carry if you're just in the congregation. And part of that responsibility is, man, I've got to lead people with the right energy, with the right spirit. I've got to come in, obviously prayed up, prepared, all that stuff. But even if I'm not feeling it, I've got to leave that stuff at the door, and I've got to go, man, I've got to lead our congregation to the heart of God today. And I think that's a big part of what you're talking about. We've got to rely on the truth of God's word, put that behind us. You're not always going to feel right when you're doing it, but it's about leading. You're literally a leader. I might get kicked out before this next session for saying this, but you almost lead the congregation just as much as Pastor Dustin does on a Sunday morning with your spirit. Yeah. 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 He's really not that great of a speaker. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. It's so true. Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. If you're singing that in your sleep, we need to get you to see a doctor, okay? Let's talk afterwards. Just kidding. Did you have something you wanted to say? I'm sorry. Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah. 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 I think that's huge. And that's, to me, the biggest thing that comes out of that is, man, I've got to check my spirit and my attitude before I come into this Sunday, Let's take a 5-minute break. Would you guys mind if we go to like 12:15 today? Is that okay? Okay. All right. Let's take like a quick 5-minute break. If you got to use the restroom, go for it, and then we'll jump into some fun stuff here in just a second. I'm okay. Thank you, though. Yeah, thank you, though. I appreciate it. What was that? I went to school at a small Bible college out in Lancaster, California, West Coast Baptist College. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It is actually. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of forget who's all from there and stuff, but from where? Liberty. Cool. That's awesome. What are you studying? Nice. That's awesome. Okay. Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah? That's cool. That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Right. Mm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. That's awesome, man. Fun. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got a big team. Hmm. Huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Huh. Yeah. If you want to date my daughter. That's funny. Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. He's like, yes, sir. I'm on my way over to pick her up. Man, thank you guys. That was so nice. I didn't expect anything. You guys are crazy, man. Oh, dude. Oh, seriously? This is so cool, man. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. What size is it? Oh, dude, yeah. This will be perfect. It's like a perfect size. I love my Lakers stuff. Well, we got to go to some of those tickets. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, dude, I know it's such a massive. Yeah, did you? This is one of my dad's. It's like his old one, so he gave it to the church pretty much. It's, oh, okay. I was curious. I know. Well, we're about to get started anyway, but. Uh huh. It's massive, man. See ya. All right, guys, we're gonna get started just to make the most of our time here in about 30 seconds. If you want to come grab a seat, we'll do it here. Come on, man. It's always the bass player. Shh, just kidding. and the drummer. Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys come grab a seat and we'll get started here. I feel like we're missing her. Yeah, and then and back there. Cool. Jacob, would you mind passing these out for me again, man? You the man. Thank you. Everyone give it up for Jacob. Come on now. Woo! He is the man. Jacob, what do you play again? Is it electric? Or no? That's Bobby at the school. Acoustic. But what did you do at the school, Jacob? What did you do at the school with the band? Okay. It was the acoustic? Okay. Couldn't remember that. The skinny jeans, yeah. That's awesome. All right, does everyone have a note? Wanted to say notepad. Sorry, your notes. Everyone good? Okay, cool. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate it, man. All right, so we talked last lesson about the principles for a next level team. Let's talk about the practicals. We're gonna get into, I guess, what I would classify as some fun stuff. I liked last session too, but this will be some fun stuff. And so buckle up with me. I'm gonna try and do this in about 30 minutes here. And that way we could have a quick little 5-minute Q&A afterwards like we did, okay? Here are some practicals, okay? Here we go. Number one, thank you. Number one is, first thing we'll talk about is the vision for your sound. Sorry, the vision for your sound, okay? So it is important, as far as practically speaking, that everyone is on the same page in regards to the vision for your sound, okay? Do we want a super grunge sound? Like, do we want a big orchestra? Do we want, if someone comes in with their accordion, are they a part of the band now? like we have people in our church that play brass. I just kind of decided early on, hey, it's just not really our thing. Well, I feel like with brass, for the most part, you've got to have like quite a few of them, and quite a few of those different instruments to kind of make up some good blends as far as sounds. And so I just thought, you know what, we're not going to go that route. We're just going to stick with some other things. Do we want a small band? Do we want just like an acoustic team? Flutes, oboes, brass, strings. I had a sweet lady who came to me. This was like right when I was given the music ministry, and I had like no guidelines whatsoever, didn't know what I was doing. Still, feel that way to some degree. But this lady came to me, and I think her name was Eunice, and she was, I can't remember exactly her age, but she had a harmonica, and she's like, hey, can I do a harmonica special? This was on a Sunday afternoon. She's like, can I do it tonight? And I was like, we don't got a special night. Like, sure. Like, why don't you just come play your harmonica? And so I didn't tell my dad, he's the pastor. And he came up and, prayed for the offering, came down, and he looks up, and there's a lady, stepping up to the mic with her harmonica. It was awesome, man. Does anyone in here play the harmonica at all? Okay, all right. Okay, a few of you. My dad can play the harmonica. Like, he's pretty good, actually. So every now and then we kind of break that out. But the bottom line was, I didn't know at the time, man, what's the vision for our sound? Like, if somebody comes to me and just says, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? Like, what, not to mention, like, what are the guidelines for our team and the process for getting on the team, but what do we want our sound to be? It's important that everyone's in on that, okay? Bottom line is, if everyone isn't clear on that and everyone doesn't buy in, that's really important. Clarity and buying into the sound, then we're going to be on different pages. Because if the pianist thinks it should sound this way, and the keyboardist thinks it should sound this way, and the electric guitarist thinks it should sound more this way, we're not going to be on the same page. And I just think that's important. So clarify the vision for your sound and buy in. That is going to start. I'll be honest with you guys. It's going to start with the pastor and the worship leader, and it's going to flow down from there. Okay. So if you're on the team, get in. Okay, get in on the vision. We talked about our spirit in the first half. And that has to do a lot with this as well. Number 2, okay, just to keep moving on here, long game mentality. Long game mentality. That's what we're going to talk about next. Okay. Early on, my dad talked to us as a worship team and as a staff, and he gave the illustration of how do you steer a big ship, Of course, you guys know the answer. You can't just, whip it one way. And, if you're on a cruise ship and that happens, of course, it doesn't have the turn radius as, something like a car, but people on the ship will feel it, How do you steer a big ship incrementally, right? Incrementally. Small changes over time, small progressions over time. So, well, Lance, that should sound like the slippery slope that, everyone, refers to. And that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about duping people. I'm not talking about tricking people like, hey, we want to go here, but let's just start to make small changes to get there. No, we weren't that calculated. We just didn't want to be that, So we just started making incremental changes that were doctrinal, biblical. We weren't changing any of that stuff, but that were just practical things, right? When I first came in, I remember the first Sunday afternoon where my dad was like, hey, I want you to lead congregational singing tonight. This was back when we had PM services every week. And I was like, me, Dad? And I had taken congregational song leading in Bible college. So I had learned how to get up and for a 4/4 song, wave my arms, and a 4/4 manner, and then for a 3/4 song, and then for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all that stuff. And so I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this. And I'm like nervous as all get out, and I get up there. And do you guys ever have things happen when you're in a moment where you're nervous, where things just come back to your mind in a weird way, and you blurt them out? So that happened. And one of the things when I was in Bible college, there was always a guy who led music. His name was Toby Weaver, and he always led music in college chapel. And he would get up, and he had this real kind of like look to him, and he'd get up and wave his arms. And every now and then he'd say, coming into the last verse, he would say, he was trying to say, hey, let's sing strong together, but he'd say, let's hit those high X's, Y's, and Z's. And You guys can imagine what came out of my mouth that day, coming into the last verse. We came into the last verse, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I said, hey, let's lift it up on those high X's, Y's, and Z's. And the whole congregation looked at me like, who is this dude from California? Like, the land of, fruits and nuts. Like, this dude is weird, right? This dude is weird. I don't know what he learned, but get him out of here. And I came down, and one of my best friends was visiting that weekend, so, even more embarrassing. But I come down to him, I was like, bro, how'd it go? And he was like, he was all nice to me. He's like, it was good, yeah. He kind of lied to me, just tried to encourage me. But guys, here's why I tell you that story. Because what you saw Sunday night wasn't that, But how did we get from literally one person, me, standing on the platform, waving my arms, saying, let's hit those high X's, Y's, and Z's, and a piano player who, blessed her dear heart, she's still in our church, but she couldn't follow me even on a basic hymn, it was just me and her. And she saved our backsides for being there and being available, and she's still one of the dearest ladies in our church, so sweet. But she had a hard time following me, even on a basic hymn. Guys, that's where we started, and all I wanted to say is, you got to start somewhere, and you got to start making those changes incrementally. You can't overnight be like, hey, we're going to go from this to that. Because when you do that, people on the cruise ship go, whoa, what's going on? And that guy who I said 8 years ago wouldn't have lifted his hands in worship, who I said today now is our biggest fan, right? He told me, and he was kind of joking, but he said, Lance, he's like, it's like we were lobsters in a pot being cooked and we didn't even know it. And I was like, well, we didn't do that intentionally, but yeah, I guess so, just making small changes over time. And we didn't do it to trick people, but it was just kind of how the Lord was leading us. So I guess the point here is play the long game mentality. When you play the long game mentality, you understand it is a journey, and you don't get as frustrated in the moment when things aren't going the way that you want them, right? The long game mentality will save you from frustration. It'll save you from being fatigued on your team and thinking, what are we even doing here? The long game mentality is we are going somewhere, okay? And there's a quote that I came across recently, and it said, moving fast is not the same as going somewhere. Sometimes we think, because we're making these fast changes, we're going somewhere. No, actually. Sometimes it means the opposite, actually. Sometimes it means you're making changes too quickly. And so just enjoy the journey. Be intentional about the journey, though, and incremental changes. So play the long game mentality in your spirit as well. Number 3, let's look at band dynamics. Band dynamics. And I'm not talking about team chemistry. We're going to come to that in a little bit. I'm talking about literal, song dynamics, okay? We're going to do something fun here, but before we do that, what are band dynamics when I say this, okay? I want you guys to, just so we're clear. When I think of band dynamics, I think about 2 things, okay? I think of the amount of instruments being played at one time, okay? The amount of instruments being played at one time. So, okay, right now we got the piano in on verse 1, and the keyboard, and the bass guitar, and the drums, and the acoustic guitar. That's the amount of instruments being played at one time. Those are part of your dynamics. The second thing, though, is the amount of energy they're being played with. Those also contribute to your dynamics, right? So, the average listener always feels dynamics. You can feel, if you're in a house of worship or you're listening to a song on the radio, man, you feel the dynamics of the song. You feel like there's depth there, and the song goes all over the place. If I were to put like a graph to it, okay, man, a lot of songs, man, they start low, and then they come high, and then they dip into the bridge, which, is kind of a soft bridge, but then it ramps up into a big bridge, and then it takes you on a journey, okay? And I think that's what I'm referring to here when I'm talking about dynamics. But what I want to do is this. I did this exercise about 4 years ago, and it's forever changed my life. If you've studied music, you've done stuff like this, so this might be rudimentary. But to me, it's an easy assignment, but it's going to change the way you listen to music, okay? So we have that song back there, right, Thomas? Okay, so real quick, don't play it. How many of you guys know the song Death Was Arrested by North Point? Okay, great. Do you guys do that here? Okay, awesome. We're doing that this Easter, and I'm so excited about that. We're doing God So Loved by We the Kingdom, and then Death Was Arrested. Those are kind of our new songs we're learning now coming into Easter. It's going to be awesome. But I wanted to play this song, and here's what I want you guys to do. Flip your paper over to the back maybe, or you can do this, I guess, underneath the notes on this point. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to listen to the intro in verse 1, and I want you to write down, not vocally, what instruments you're hearing, okay? We're going to pause, and we're going to talk about verse 1. Then, what was that? Yes, yeah, the one that's already pulled up on YouTube. I think it's pulled up on YouTube already, right? Okay. So then we're going to pause. We're going to listen to the chorus, and I want you to write down what instruments you hear there, okay? This is just a cool exercise. I think it'll change the way you understand band dynamics, okay? So write down intro, verse 1 right now, and then I want you to write down, as you're listening, what instruments are you hearing, okay? So Thomas, blast us with sound, dude. Like, just crank it up. Let's do it, all right? Write down anything you're hearing. Again, don't worry about the vocals, just the instruments. Okay, let's pause it right there. Boom. Here we go. Now, we're going to come back to that, so just leave it right there if you could, Thomas. But I want to know, what instruments are you guys hearing? Okay, let's come. I'm just going to pick on some people here. Let's go to Juan. Juan. Guitar, okay? That I think we all can agree, right? Right? We got like an acoustic guitar, finger picking. Jacob, what's another one? You raised your hand. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we got keys going on, kind of like amplifying a little bit. What'd you guys hear? You had your hand raised. Yes. Let's call it a pad, right? There you go, yeah. Nice. Yeah, that was kind of throughout, right? That was at the beginning with that guitar. And so you're kind of feeling the dynamics already, like, ooh, this is kind of soft, but it's got energy, it's got the pad, it's got the acoustic guitar finger picking. And then kind of towards the end, you did kind of hear something else come in, maybe like an extra set of keys or something. Okay, let's keep listening here. Let's hear as it goes into, I guess, verse 2 and chorus. Let's listen to both of those, okay? Go for it, Thomas. Okay, there's some extra stuff coming in here, right? Here we go. Let's listen to chorus here. Here we go. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's that bass. Okay, let's pause it right there. Thanks, Thomas. Okay, we'll pause right there, and then we'll go to the rest of the song. Okay, what did you guys hear? I know you guys are eager now. Okay, right here. Yeah. Yeah, just something simple, right? Yep. He might have been playing a bass note. Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you guys all heard that, right? The bass, I mean, that thing dropped. Boom. That was awesome, Brenner. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I heard that too, yeah. That's good. And this is really hard to hear on, by the way. It's a little cloudy in here, and I think because you're missing some of this too. Man, do this with headphones one of these days, and you guys are going to hear in detail, like, whoa, I never saw that before. Thomas? Yeah. Yeah, how many of you guys heard that? The electric? Okay. There you go, yeah. Another guitar. Right here. Yep, you guys heard that, right? Just a little bit of the kick drum. You know, that type of stuff. Yep, some of the cymbals. Shaker. I was waiting for someone to say shaker because I heard that. All right, I love it. Okay, here we go. Let's just listen to maybe like one more verse, chorus, and then I think you guys are getting the idea, but let's see where it goes from here. A lot more drums here, right? It's doing a lot more. Let's pause it real quick, okay? So I'm not gonna have us go around for this part, but you could just tell it's a lot of the same instruments. They're just playing louder now, right? Okay, so we talked about it's the amount of instruments in, but it's the energy with which they're playing. So they really up their energy. Probably added a few more electric guitar parts, whatever, because it definitely sounds stronger, maybe even a little bit muddier, a little bit to some degree. So once it gets into that fourth verse, which it's the part where it goes, not Savior displayed on a criminal's cross. What's the last verse of Death Was Arrested? Help me out, guys. You can fast forward it if you want to, Thomas. Help me find that fourth verse. Right, yeah. I just... No. It's after that. Keep going. We're going to get this, guys. We're going to get this. So when they, and I'm telling you, I examined this because I selected this song like a couple weeks ago for Easter, and when I heard it, I was like, man, they did this so well. When they came into that fourth verse, Thomas, if you have it, you could play it for us. Do you have it right there? Rick? Right. 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 Yes. Yes. So I'm going to talk about that. That's a great point, Rick. We're going to come to that because Rick is right. Because a lot of times, if you guys are all doing the same thing, there's frequencies, right? And a lot of times, the piano and the guitars are like in the same mid-range, and they're just muddying each other up. Like they're just canceling each other out. Does that make sense? So we're going to talk a little bit about tailoring your gifting to the needs of the song, okay? Which is what Rick is talking about, and which is, man, electric. Yeah, sometimes you're just going to downstrum and kind of go with the acoustic guitar. But man, sometimes you're going to do some leads to to kind of help complement it. You're not going to be doing the same thing. So we're not all, like you said, on that C chord, and then we're all on the G chord, then we're all on the A minor, whatever. That's huge. Do you got that last verse right there? It is? It's our Savior displayed? Okay, release from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. No, that is the second one. Let me see here. Heaven and lost. That's the one. You're right. I thought that was the third verse, but you're right. If we listen to it, it is a criminal cross. I'm sorry. So this just might be wrong then, Carmi. It's Google. What does Google know? No, I'm just kidding. No, hey, that's it. So what they do right there is Savior displayed on a criminal cross, and they go back to what was in the intro. So they go back to the guitar. They go back to just the pad, so it really dies down there. Okay, you guys feeling this? Like, well, because what's about to happen? They're about to preach the resurrection. Like, this gives me goosebumps. Like, they're about to come, like, they're about to bring you to a moment to where, it's the closest thing on earth to, like, if you were to see that stone roll away. I mean, you're about to feel it, right? And so it goes, but then Jesus arose with our freedom in hand. And when that happens, man, the instruments start to build back up, right? Where they're kind of adding in, one by one, and then you get to the chorus, and it's like everyone's in. Okay, so here's my point through this. I mean, we could really talk about a lot through this. My first point is this: if you were to look at this on a graph, okay, we've got to take our congregation on a journey. Okay, and here's a practical idea. Carmi, I can't remember if we talked about this. What I used to do with our team as we were learning this, I used to make what's called an arrangement sheet, and I would just write down verse 1, and underneath that, I'd put vocals, and I'd put, like, unison or parts. I just put what the vocals are doing. And then I'd put band. I'd put electric guitar pads. You know what I'm saying? So we could look at that arrangement sheet and be like, oh, if I'm the drummer, okay, so I stay out on verse 1, verse 2, okay, I come in on the chorus and the bridge. You guys with me? Okay. So that's just an idea. Do, like, an arrangement sheet with your team. It's going to take a little more time, but everyone will be on the same page as you're playing through it. You're not having to talk through it like, hey, don't play here, don't play there, hey, I come in. It's all on the sheet. But if you look at it like a graph, what we do in the early days at Emmanuel, it's like, all right, beginning of Death Was Arrested. Everyone in, and then, boom, full blast through the song. And then, boom, song ends. Okay? I think you guys get the picture. It should, if you look at it in graph form, and you should do this with every one of your songs, it should take you on a journey, right? There should be highs and lows. There should be parts where it dies out a little bit, and vocally it takes over. There should be parts where instrumentally it's super strong, and then the vocals are, rising with it. I mean, you have to examine the dynamics of each song and go, okay, I'm feeling the energy of this song and where I should come in and where I shouldn't come in. The more you guys could do that, the more you're just going to do it naturally as a team. And years from now, you might not need that arrangement sheet. Like, it might just be like, hey, like, I listened to that song, and I felt, in one time where I'm supposed to come in as the electric guitarist or as the acoustic, whatever, okay? So that's the first thing, I guess, as a graph that I kind of wanted to put. Thanks for playing that, Thomas. Here are the implications of band dynamics, okay? And I just want to tell you guys this. First thing is we submit our gifting to the needs of the song. And for sake of time, I'm just going to keep plowing through this, okay? We submit our gifting to the needs of the song. So we don't go, oh, well, I'm the pianist, and I'm going to do my thing, like full speed over here, like do whatever I want. Or I'm the keyboardist or, whatever, and I'm going to do what I want over here because this is how I like to play or this is the only way I know how to play. No, submit your gifting to the needs of the song. When we first started this journey, like 4 or 5 years ago, like really started to think about dynamics, our pianist had to learn to play a little bit of a different way, to be honest. Before, she was the whole show. I mean, she was like, up and down the piano, like really leading us and helping through transitions. And now the piano is more of an accent piece than it is like the piece. There really is no, focal point of our band. It's just a good blend of everything. And it's everyone, like Rick said, kind of playing their part for the needs of the song. So look at the needs of the song, right? The second thing here is we learn to play. We might need to learn to play a different way. Okay, that might be what that means. If you're an acoustic guitarist and all you know how to do is strum, it might be that you learn how to fingerpick, right? And that we get better in that area. Next, we learn to accent a song as opposed to dominate a song. We learn to accent it as opposed to dominate it. And I know those three kind of tie together, but I just wanted to say those things. Dynamics help tell the story of the song. Can you guys imagine if Pastor Dustin were to come in on a Sunday morning and from the welcome through the invitation prayer, he were to just shout his message? Some of you might say, he did that this past Sunday, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I know that's not him, but just imagine. Welcome to Liberty Baptist Church. Let's all stand together, blah, blah, blah. Turn in your Bibles to... Already it's annoying to you, right? I mean, could you imagine if he didn't have dynamics in the way that he spoke from beginning to end? Number one, just how annoying it would get, how boring it would get, and how unengaging it would get, okay? So we understand this in terms of a speaker. We go, man, he was a great speaker. Well, you can't pinpoint why. It's because he used his dynamics, And there's other factors, but when it comes to music, it should feel that way as well. Can you imagine Pastor Dustin not submitting his gifting to the team? Him going, hey, I'm going to speak, but during the invitation, I'm going to go work nursery too. Oh, Lord help us if he worked nursery, right? If any of us guys worked in nursery, right? The kids would be crying and screaming for their mamas, like within 0.5 seconds. It's just ridiculous. So imagine if he was like, hey, I'm going to do nursery, and I'm going to lead the kids ministry too, and I'm going to work sound, and I'm going to do all of it. You'd be like, Pastor Dustin, just submit your gifting to the team. What you're good at is speaking. What you're good at is leading us spiritually. So let other people do that, okay? And I think it's important that with band dynamics that we submit our gifting to the team, that there are those dynamics. Guys, there's a lot we could talk about there, but we got to kind of move on. That's just kind of the tip of the iceberg that I hope will maybe more open up the conversation with your team. Number 4 is this, vocal dynamics. Vocal dynamics. So, here's the very first thing that I'll say. Your vocal dynamics should mirror the band dynamics, okay? This is really important. Your vocal dynamics should mirror the band dynamics. If we were to go back to Death Was Arrested, right at the beginning, with that finger picking in the pad, Ash was redeemed, only beauty remains. His voice is very, now he can get away with that. He's like a, recording artist, professional. So maybe you don't do your breathy voice because maybe it's not that good, okay? But maybe you are just quieter. Does that make sense? So at least dynamically you could follow it, even if you can't sound exactly like that guy. You can go, okay, I'm going to follow this with my energy. I mean, if we were to play that song and Ash was redeemed, only beauty remains, it'd be like, dude, chill out a little bit, like calm down. Let's fit the needs of the song. So vocal dynamics should mirror those things. If the band is soft, vocals should be soft. If the band is building, vocals should be building. If the band is full blast and loud, vocals should be full blast and loud, okay? Here's another thing I'll say underneath this. Unison is your best friend vocally. Guys, if there's a hard part of the song where you're finding it hard to figure out harmonies and stuff, man, unison is your best friend. Like just sing the melody together. That's going to sound good. Unison, if you're not familiar with music, just an easy way to put it is it's everyone on the same note for the most part, right? Going unison on parts of the song is almost always a good idea. I put down here. It brings the melody to the forefront of the song. So oftentimes when we're teaching a song to the congregation, we're like breaking out into parts and doing all this stuff. Well, sometimes they just need to hear the first verse and chorus in unison. Like they need to, if they've never heard this on YouTube or the radio, they just need to hear it in unison first and be like, okay, that's how the song goes. And then later down the road, you break out. Does that make sense? So I think that's a big part of it. In general, we use unison at low energy parts of the song or extremely difficult parts of the song where strength is needed in the melody, okay? So sometimes like at the end of a bridge, we're like, man, what are the parts there? And it's just like, hey guys, let's go unison out of the bridge, like real strong, and then come into the chorus and break off into parts. So unison is your best friend. The next thing I'll put down here is basic 3-part harmonies should be a go-to. Basic 3-part harmonies should be a go-to. Okay, what am I talking about there? If you're not, very musical, I think most of us understand this, but there should be a lead or a melody or multiple people on the lead. And then for us, basic 3-part harmony. So that's one part. Second is the alto, and then third would be the tenor. Okay, bass is like if you're doing like a quartet barbershop type of feel, or you're singing it as well a cappella, and you want to add a bass underneath there or something. But just those 3 basic parts: lead, alto, and tenor. If you guys can learn to hear parts like that, and you have people that are gifted on your team to sing an alto part or to sing a tenor part, that's going to be huge. Well, why? Because the 3-part harmonies, they help build energy. They help texture the song, and then also they help add options for the congregation. Sometimes the lead is so high for somebody, and somebody needs to hear that other part to drop to. They're like, oh, that girl's singing that part. I'm going to drop to that part. I'm going to try and sing that, So that's kind of what we do. At a manual in general, here's how I treat vocal dynamics in general, just to help you guys understand. Verse 1, we'll do unison together. Verse 2 is building a little bit, so we'll split off into like a 2-part harmony, right? That first chorus will come back to unison so that everyone kind of hears so like if we're singing Waymaker, okay? It's not parts the first chorus. Waymaker, real big. It's just Waymaker, miracle worker. Well, why? It's everyone together getting on the same page, And then from there, verse 3 parts, the later choruses, strong parts. If we have 2 bridges, I'm sorry, I know I'm just flying through this. If we have 2 bridges, we'll do the first one unison and then the second one parts. So the first one kind of comes together and, maybe is quieter, and then the second one is just like, boom, let's go, lots of energy. So vocal dynamics, bottom line there, and again, there's more we could talk about there, but I'm kind of out of time. Vocal dynamics should always mirror the band dynamics, okay? Number 5 is team chemistry, and I did want to just spend some time on this before we leave. The last 2 are very quickly, so just give me a second on here, okay? Team chemistry. I'm not going to have you go there, but if you guys know the passage, 1 Corinthians 13, it's the passage on love, okay? You guys all with me? Just so we don't all have to turn there. Love is patient. Love is kind, Love isn't, envious. Love isn't proud. Love isn't boastful, okay? What Paul is saying in that passage, like above all, he says at the end of the passage, he says, these are the 3 graces, hope, faith, and then charity, right, or love. And then what does he say at the very end? You guys help me out here. He says, what is the greatest of these? What does he say? He says, love is the greatest of these, charity. He says, among the 3 graces, love is the greatest thing that you have. And guys, please, everyone hear me on this, okay? Love is the greatest attribute that you can have inside of your team because it allows you to treat each other well. What does he say at the beginning of 1 Corinthians 13? You guys have got to catch this if you've heard nothing else this hour. He says, though I speak with the tongues of men and angels, if I have not love, I am become as a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. I always thought that was weird. A sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. Do you know what he's trying to say there? He's saying if you don't have love in your life is nothing more than noise. And then he says in the very next verse, he says in verse 2, though I have the gift of prophecy and understand mysteries and knowledge, though I have faith, though I could remove mountains, if I have not love, I am nothing. Do you know what the church of Corinth was doing? And I'm going to explain this to you guys in like 30 seconds. In the passage before, it talks about spiritual gifts in 1 Corinthians 12. They were lifting up their gifting above everything else in their life. Their gifting was their identity. Some of them were going, oh, I have the gift of prophecy, and they were seeking for the public gifts. Oh, I have the gift of playing electric guitar. I have the gift of playing the piano, I have the gift of tongues was a big one at that time in church history, right? Why? Because it was a public gift. And Paul's saying, you can seek for those public gifts. You can grasp for significance with those gifts. But let me tell you something. If that supersedes love in your life and the way that you treat people, everyone listen to this, the way you treat people, man, your life is nothing but noise. You could be the most gifted person in the room, but your life is nothing more than noise if you don't know how to treat your church family, your brothers and sisters in Christ, much less your community, with love. So, how does this play into this, guys? And I think it's huge. Good team chemistry is fostered by love. It's not fostered with a negative spirit. It is not fostered with a negative spirit. When I grasp for significance in my gifting, my life is nothing more than noise, is what he's saying. When we grasp for significance in our gifting, man, what we can bring to the church, and we put our identity into that, the question no longer is, man, how do I serve my church family with my gifts? The question becomes, how do I serve myself with my gifts? How do I make myself feel better about, the way that I play this, or, the way that I've always done that, or whatever? And I think it's really important that we go back to that humility and that flexibility we talked about in the first lesson, submit ourselves to that. Underneath this, good team chemistry is fostered by a few things. First of all, it's fostered by team meetings. You guys should be, let me back up, okay? Our team meets about 3 times a year. We have meetings like this where I'm casting vision, where we're coming together. It's not like a one time every 2 years, like, hey, this is where we're going. No, it's like, man, we're in this together, okay? And so we do that a few times a year. That builds team chemistry. It continually keeps the vision at the forefront. Second, good team chemistry comes by making good memories together, guys. Comes by making good memories together. Back to your question earlier, Tony. I mean, man, some of what's going to break up that monotony is when you guys go, hey, guys, we're going to have a barbecue, at this Saturday at so-and-so's house, and, we're going to watch the big game. Guys, man, I know you're busy, but let's carve out time as a team to just go have fun and do stupid things together. Let's bike the Farmington Trail. Let's go axe throwing, okay? Maybe some of you, that's not a good idea. Okay, you're going to throw the axes at each other. No, I'm just kidding. No, hey, let's go bowling and put the bumpers up, okay? Let's do an escape room together, okay? Whatever it is. We do this with our team, and guys, I mean, if you just do it a couple times a year, it's helpful. But it's not always, come to rehearsal. It's, man, we're doing life together. And that's important for team chemistry. Next, good team chemistry learns how to handle team conflict. Learns how to handle team conflict. And there's one thing I'm going to say underneath this. This is really important for everyone to understand. Write this down. Support in public and save hard questions for private. Support in public and save the hard questions for private. There's a pastor friend up in Massachusetts who just recently had a meeting with his deacons, and he has about 3 or 4 deacons in his church. It's a small church. And he gave them the direction of the church, and they were making some decisions about how the stage was going to look, and they all were on board. And they get into the meeting now with the church. This is a couple days later, where they present it to the church and kind of open up to the congregation. Hey, do you guys have any questions? And the one person to raise his hand and have a question, you know who it was? It was one of the deacons. And my friend up in Massachusetts, who's a pastor, proceeded to tell me it was literally like he tried to sabotage me. He came into he agreed with me, and then he came into the meeting, and he was the only one asking questions. And on top of that, he's asking questions that we covered in our previous meeting. And it wasn't for clarification. It was to either upstage him or to cause a riff or there's something there in that person's heart. A person that does something like that, I'll just be honest with you guys, doesn't have the right motives. And it's important that we as team members get on board with the vision and that we ask those hard questions in private. It's not like we're saying don't ask those questions, ask them in private. But man, when we're in public with the team, with the church congregation, we're unified together in this, okay? Does everyone understand that? I think that's important. I think that's so important. A few things that you guys might need to hear, and I don't know much of your team dynamics, but I'm just going to say these things because I think every team needs to hear them. And you guys don't have to write these down, but just listen. Don't stop practice or a rehearsal because you disagree with something and want to argue about it. I've had that happen. And to be honest, it's deflating as a leader. And it's really hard to kind of corral the team back together and to like when everyone's, kind of saw that was an awkward moment. Next, don't intentionally bring up issues to the leader in front of the rest of the team. Next, don't insist that things be done your way. Next, don't drag other team members into your frustrations with the leader or direction. I've had this happen too. This is not biblical. If there's another team member, going to another team member going like, oh yeah, can you imagine that he did that way? Or, texting, just maybe even like side, like smirky comments, that type of thing, sarcastic things that could be taken the wrong way. I address that in our team and I go, hey, that's not how we're gonna, if you want to talk to someone, come talk to me and we'll have that out. But ultimately you got to get on board as a team member, or maybe this isn't the team for you, and that's okay. And I've had team members step down, not because I bullied them, but because they realized, I'm just not on board with the direction, but I still love this church, and that's okay. We're still friends, okay? You guys with me? Like that's really important that we kind of note that. All of those things that I just mentioned kill team chemistry. They kill the Spirit's work, and they detract from God's glory. How can we lead together if we can't love each other? I think that's big. Number 6 is this: effective rehearsals. And we're just about done. Number 6, effective rehearsals. Rehearsals for us are on Saturday nights at 5. We've switched this around a million times. We've done Sunday mornings. That was when we had 2 services, and the first service was like at 10 or something like that. So they could come in at 9 or 8:30, and it wasn't too bad. We'd do a quick practice. That felt always rushed Sunday morning because it's like, okay, like we got to pull this together and then go to Sunday school, like it just felt stressful. So we went away from that. We did Sunday nights after church, which, man, that was a rough decision because everyone was tired after classes that night, and they got kids running around, and they need to get them home to go to school the next morning. It was just rough. So we switched that to Saturday night, and that's worked best. Even though it is people's day off, it's helped us go, okay, this is the night before, so it's fresh enough. And I've done the best job that I can to just make it as fast as possible so that people aren't there for 2-3 hours, So we do it from 5 o'clock. I'll tell you guys how I broke it down, and this has helped our team almost more than anything. We do just vocals at 5 o'clock. So it's not like everyone comes and is sitting around while we're doing other things. Just vocals at 5 o'clock. We pound out parts on the piano. We're talking about, hey, verse 1, let's go unison. Verse 2, let's do the 3-part harmony. Let's do that. And we sing through those things. The band comes at 5:30. So 5 o'clock vocals, 5:30 is vocals and band together. We practice those things on the sound, in the room with the sound guy. 6 o'clock, most of the team leaves at that point, and we do special music. We still kind of do that. So whoever's doing the solo that week or the duet or whatever, they stay. And then 6:20, sometimes 6:30, we're done, okay? So I know what you're thinking. How in the world do you guys do that and still, I guess, kind of keep quality to your music? And how is your practices that short? How do you only practice once a week? I do all that I can as a leader to equip them with chord charts and YouTube videos and stuff during the week so that when they come into practice, they're ready, And I think that's important for your guys' team. If you want to move forward, you got to come into practice ready so that, man, we can keep practice moving. And We're not getting stuck because, again, I don't know who plays electric guitar, so forgive me. I keep picking on him. But so the electric guitarist isn't standing there going, dun, dun, oh, no, yeah, it's that note. No, yeah, it's that note, and we're not wasting everyone's time. Um, I would say, obviously, I think you guys do this. Make them weekly. If you're not consistently practicing together, learning from each other, you're not going to get better, obviously. And then give breaks where needed. Every now and then, like after Easter or after a big Christmas service, I'll go, hey guys, don't worry about the Saturday sound check. I scheduled all familiar songs, like all songs our church knows and loves. So just come in Sunday morning, we'll do a quick sound check, but don't worry about coming in Saturday. So I try to give breaks where needed and where I feel like the team is maybe more fatigued, Tony. Back to that question. So have effective rehearsals. In order to have effective rehearsals, bottom line, and I'm out of time, is you've got to come in prepared. In order to come in prepared, the leader has to do a good job of equipping you guys. You have to do a good job of even seeking things out, and so that we come in ready to go. We're all on the same page. It helps if you guys are sent the exact arrangement that you're going to do, because then it's like, okay, we're not. Death Was Arrested. You guys look that up. There's like 52 different versions. Oh, Lifeway Worship does it, and North Point, and whatever. And so if we listen to 52 different versions, we're all going to be playing 52 different versions when we come in, So on the same page with that, that helps with effective rehearsals. Number 7, tools that contribute to success. I'm just going to list out 3 tools that we use that contribute to success. One is Planning Center. Planning Center. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll explain these to you guys, but I'm just going to have you write them down. The Planning Center. The second one is called the Worship Initiative. You guys familiar with that at all? The Worship Initiative? Yeah, cool. Oh, Jacob, do you guys use this for school? No? For the school band at all or no? No? Okay, I'm just curious. Yeah, the Worship Initiative is the second one. And then the last one is something called Loop Community. That's the third tool that we use. Loop Community. Yep. Yeah, kind of a weird name, I know, but Loop Community. What was that? Okay. Oh, yeah. Yes, Loop. Oh, Luke. Is that what you thought I said? Luke? Okay, here it is, guys, okay? Ready? So, Planning Center, just in short, I'm just going to tell you guys this, okay? It's that green app right on my phone. I'm not going to give you all the ins and outs, but I click on that, and I see this Sunday's plan. So it's March 14th. I see all the songs. May the Peoples Praise You, God So Loved, the one I told you about earlier. How Great Thou Art, Oh Come to the Altar. I can click out of that, and I can see the team that's scheduled for that Sunday. So I can see who is on vocals. We have Daly Ann, Darcy, David, Hillary, Jonathan, Catherine. Who's leading? I can see who's scheduled for band. Do you guys see all that? Okay. The people that you see a green check mark next to, those are people that when I scheduled them, they got the notification to their phone. You guys know how you have like home screen notifications? It goes right to that. It's pretty cool. So from there, they confirm or they decline, and then I know they're going to be there, So it's not like texting back and forth, emails back and forth. It's just, boom, yes, I'm going to be there. You know I'm going to be there. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a monthly subscription, but you would need to download the app to your phone. Yeah, and you just make a like a login with your email. She would connect your email to it. It's easy. But okay, you say, okay, that's cool, Lance, but let me just take it out. So it gives times. So it gives like what are the rehearsal times for that week and what are the service times. So you kind of know. And then last thing it does, if you look at files, it gives me all the files I need to practice with, okay, for that week. So May the Peoples Praise You, I have the chord chart in D. So if I want to practice from my phone, if I have my guitar in my living room or something, boom, there's my chord chart, If I don't know what the song is, I can attach an MP3 and just play it from there. You guys could probably hear this. Most of them, yep. Yeah. It's pretty easy. It syncs with other music tools that you can use, like Song Select. If you guys use that at all, it actually imports chords for you, like automatically. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. And it's also a song library. Okay, so last thing I'll show you guys is, sorry, This thing's now taking a long time to load. Okay, here it is. So if I go back, I'm going to hit songs down here. See that tab? And every song, if I'm like, oh, we did a song 4 weeks ago. What was that song? Okay, let me go to, Death Was Arrested, Death Arrested. I can hit all arrangements, files. Right now I don't have anything attached, but I could pull up the chord charts, stuff like that. I could see what key we did it in, all that stuff. So that's just, in short, we live and breathe Planning Center, pretty much. And there's an app that syncs. It's called Planning Center Music Stand. So if you have an iPad at the piano. Yep. Yeah, I'll show you guys it right now, actually. So for this Sunday, this is pretty cool. I'll pull it up. This was for Sunday, actually, so I'll just pull it. I'll just use this. So right here, I have all my music right here. So lyrics, chord charts, and I can make little notes too, like, okay, read Isaiah 43, or hey, the intro is twice on this one, then read Hebrews 11. Yeah. Maybe you didn't explore like all the avenues of it and stuff. Yeah. Way to go, Rick. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that was big for our team. I had to, if we implemented it, we had a big meeting where it was just like, guys, we're gonna live and breathe Planning Center. Like, this is the language we're gonna speak. So speak it. If not, like, I'm not gonna know that you're not coming. Like, I'm not gonna reach out. I'm not gonna. I'll text someone every now and then, but I'm not gonna like baby you. Does that make sense? But what were you gonna say? Sorry. What was that? Yeah. So it's just swipe. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yes. Yeah, she was just kind of behind, maybe you didn't see it or whatever, but yeah, but that's a cool tool, guys. I don't want to get like bogged down in it. You guys could talk about that. There's no pressure to use that, but yeah. 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 Yeah, so that goes to our third resource, which I was going to work our way there, but you guys see the one you wrote down, Loop Community. So what we do there, and again, this may or may not be your thing, so don't freak out about this, But we just went to it in September, and it's changed our lives. But so often with the band, one person sets the tempo, and then it's like, okay, dude, that's not the tempo. Like, we're singing this, it's really weird that we're singing this slow or this fast. And what we do with Loop Community is we play to a click track. So what we're hearing is verse 1, 2, 3, bless the Lord, oh my soul. So in your in-ears, you're hearing what's next. So at the end of da 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 da, when the evening comes, chorus 3, bless the Lord. You guys hear that? So it's that type of thing where you're hearing cues and a click that we're all playing to. And that's huge. That alone, even if we didn't have any instruments in with it, that alone tightened up our band like you would never imagine. Like, we're all on the same page now, and we're not struggling with tempo, and it's always a good tempo because I said it before, So it's always what I know, I want it to be. Now, in that app called Loop Community, it's a free service. You purchase songs. So like for Tomorrow, God So Loved the World, we purchased that track. It comes with the click and the cues, but you can keep any instruments you want in there. Like, so for example, I don't have a bass. I don't have a bass player right now. He left this past summer. He moved to Missouri. And so, like, I need a bass player. Well, we just don't have one in our church right now. If so, they haven't shown up. So I keep the bass in with that click track. We'll keep a little, because we're not to like the level of you guys are with like the drums and stuff. It's all awesome. But our church, I think my dad and a couple other people would just be like, So we have the cajon. You guys saw that, the box, right? And I leave in a little bit of the drums. I leave those at about, yeah, exactly, yeah. I leave those at about, I leave those at about 40, 50%, so they're not full on, but they're just helping texture it enough to where it's like, man, it fills in some of the cracks, that we can't fill in because we don't have the personnel. So Hmm. No, no, we don't use any vocal stuff, so I don't know. I don't know what you heard. Hmm. You might be hearing like we have a lot. We have reverb on our system, which Rick knows about that. I'm guessing, but I mean we put reverb so that like sometimes like that congregational singing can sound I guess softer. It's less harsh, and there is a little bit of a carry with it sometimes. So that may be, but I don't I wouldn't ever pipe in vocals. I think that's weird. What you guys heard on Sunday was about 85% live. I think I told Tony this because we talked after. It was about 85% live instruments, and I'm using this as a supplement to our sound. So anything we have live, I'm turning off. Does that make sense? So like acoustic guitar, that's off. Piano, off. Electric guitar, off. Unless there's multiple of them. Um, and then that 15% roughly is like, okay, let's fill in some of the cracks of our song. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Couldn't make out what I was saying. Right, right. Yeah, he. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely. Yep. Right, right. But just not the words. Yeah. Our sound guy tries to hit the reverb button off when I talk, and sometimes he misses it, and so that's kind of what we're experiencing. But yeah, 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 right. Hmm. Every now and then there's feedback from the stage monitors too, because those shoot up to the walls behind, and then they bounce up to you guys. So you might have heard some of that too. But um, so that's a good tool. Okay, Loop Community is a good tool. If you guys ever switch to that, you can do cheap in-ear options for like 150 bucks a person. I told her, and that helps you guys. You can leave in what you'd like to leave in and take out what you'd like to take out. Again, the best thing that helps us isn't the sound, it's the click. But and then the other thing is the worship initiative, which that's a tool that the church would need to subscribe to. But you guys ever heard of Shane and Shane? You guys listen to them? Okay, so they cover like every song on planet Earth. Like it's ridiculous, hymns and new songs. And if you go to that site, you click on a song, "Take Death Was Arrested," and with that song, they have tutorials of how to play that song. So like drum tutorials, they have it there. They have electric guitar tutorials, acoustic guitar tutorials, keys tutorials, the worship initiative. Yeah, and again, you need to subscribe to it. It's very cheap. But that's what's really cool. So they have that there, so they show literally on camera what they're playing and stuff like that, along with charts. Also, they have devotionals that go with those songs. So we talked about preparing our hearts. You could look at devotionals and kind of soak in the word before you sing those songs. Jacob? Really? Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So not all of it you have to subscribe to. That's good. Good to know. But that's a real cool help, guys. And anyway, any questions real quick before we take off? It is 12:30. Congratulations. No, I just get in, and as the leader, I warm up to that click track, and I'm getting my voice warm. But everyone comes in, and that 9 o'clock service. We have 3 services, so I don't want to ask them to come in at 8 o'clock just to get warmed up, and I don't want to be warming up as people are walking in the room. It's just not cool. It's just like let's just have a good environment where it's not all hectic at the beginning. So they just come in, and the 9 o'clock is their warm up. It's them getting going. But yeah. My in-ears was the only wireless pair like this. It was the only wireless pair that we had. Those were like $1,000, and you could get cheap headphones for like $50 that are like really good on Amazon. But the in-ears, I think if it's something that you guys, wanted to do and you wanted to ask me, I could give you the links of where we bought our stuff. But it was, oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah, with the main monitors. That's good. Yeah, and then it bleeds out here or whatever, and it's just with those in ears. Make time in your practice at the beginning. Like go through one song. This is what we do, and then I go, hey, Joe, he's our violin player. Joe, do you need anything tweaked in your in ears? And then the sound guy does it real quick. David, do you need anything? Hannah, do you need anything? Amanda, do you need anything? And we kind of get it set, and then we go from there. So we're not constantly like making tweaks through the whole practice, and it's taking up a bunch of time. That literally takes like 2 minutes, guys. I know that kind of depends on Rick, how you know the board, and how long it takes you and stuff as well. There's components to that, but I'm sure Rick is a pro. Yeah, mine was the only wireless. Yeah. We have a couple stage boxes, so we have a stage box to the left and to the right, where there's like inputs and outputs, like with the XLR. So they'll. What was that? Yep. Yeah, they did. Yep. Yeah, they did. So they would like buckle it here, and then they had the tail coming down to the stage box. Yep. Yeah, all of them did except for mine. So last, yeah. Yes. Yeah. In the congregation. Yeah. 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 Sure. Hmm. What I try and do, because I'm like I feel like I'm just an average male vocal, so I like as far as my range. So I don't have like a super high range, and I don't have like a super low range. I'm kind of right in the middle there. So I found the sweet spot with my congregation is when I reach like the top of my range, and most everyone in the congregation, the ladies can either sing with me, the guys can sing with me, or if not, they can pick a part, and we can kind of go from there. I've decided for ours that's like the sweet spot. Typically, is like where I guess where my sweet spot is as the leader. But we found that kind of works for our congregation. You guys have got to figure that out, for every song for your congregation about like, how that fits for them. But regardless of how well you even do that, there's still going to be people in the congregation that just can't hit what you're hitting, or drop to a lower thing, and that's okay. Like a lot of people, as long as they're participating and they're loving participating, and they do drop to that, they're still enjoying it. That doesn't mean they don't enjoy it, but it is different, to your note, which is like, yeah, that it can feel weird sometimes, but I wouldn't let that be a deterrent per se. I haven't let that for ours. I just try and find the right range, But anyone else have a question at all? Thank you guys for staying until 12:30. I hope this has been a help. Thank you guys for just letting me come. Let's close with the word of prayer, and thanks for the jersey. You guys are the best, and I'll be praying for you guys as you move forward. Lord, thank you so much for this team. Thank you for Liberty Baptist Church and just the light they are in this corner of Connecticut. I pray that you would just be with them moving forward. I pray that you be with their team, Lord, and I pray that they would just continue to grow and move forward, Lord, at the pace that you would want them to. And I pray that they would just incrementally over time, Lord, be able to look back 3-4 years from now and be able to just see, man, we've grown so much, and just spiritually, relationally, in every way, Lord, skillfully. I just pray that they'd be able to look back and say that, Lord, not necessarily because this meeting, but just because they're following you and the direction of the church. And I pray that you just be with them as they minister tomorrow as well, Lord. I pray that you give them just the right energy. And we love you, and we'll thank you for what you're going to do tomorrow. I appreciate your name. Amen. Thank you, guys. Man, this is... Oh, that's right. Yeah, don't be showing up an hour late for worship, people. Come on now. It's not a way to start it off after a meeting like today, all right? Just kidding. If you have an iPhone and use that alarm, it does it already. So.
Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way from the earth to the cross. My